Hi there, folks. The sun is shining somewhere. That means it's time to get back out onto a diamond, and we're coming there with you. This is the only show devoted to amateur diamond sports, baseball and softball. My name is Darren Sutton, and this is Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawnsley. We've got an incredible show. We'll get to know former PG All-American and Royals catcher now, making his way up to the big leagues with Kansas City's organization, MJ Melendez. Melendez homering 41 times in the minor leagues last year. Perfect Game stepping boldly into softball with PG softball, and who better to talk to than one of the key new members of the team? Jennie Finch will join us. David Rawnsley with the stories of Perfect Game's most historic and really in January impactful showcase. It's the World Showcase. Those bold enough to take it on, those to really up their metrics or their performance, David found them. He'll introduce you to them. But let's start this show with Zach Gaa, the talented young man who took on Perfect Game's main event showcase in Fort Myers, Florida at the very end of 2021. And it wasn't just a journey for Gaa like a lot of athletes who maybe come from Texas or New York. Oh, he came from New York, but that was after changing planes coming from his home in Singapore. A full day of travel for the gifted infielder and the 23 grad when it was all said and done. And going back to his time in Singapore, over the last couple of years since the pandemic struck, it's been small workouts, no games or competition, pods of 2 and 3 people working on the very little things, the intricacies of the game. Well, the little things became big things, and he showed out at the main event. What the story becomes when you learn about Zach Gaa.
Baseball in Singapore is it's not big, it's growing, it's quite small. There's a national team and there's a few clubs. We have an American school in Singapore, so I play over there. It's competitive in the region. We play against other nations a lot. That's kind of how it goes. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Obviously with COVID, it was really risky for all of us to come here. The longest flight in the world from Singapore to New York, that was 18 hours. Also the price, it's really expensive to come here. I'm really grateful to have this experience. Like, not many people can experience these kind of things, especially where I'm from. I'm really grateful for it. We don't have as many facilities as you guys do in the States, and so if I can compete at this level, I kind of take pride in that. I kind of watch guys like Tremar Johnson and stuff, like they're working hard, they're training nonstop, and the work ethic that they have and like the mentality that they bring along with themselves is something that you want to mimic and imitate and kind of carry along with you too. I keep my mentality and I like visualize what I want to do, visualize the pitch that I'm going to get, and kind of just staying calm and collected when everything gets stressful and getting put under pressure. Everyone here is like from the US. Everyone here has played against each other at the same level, and I'm from Singapore. I'm like from somewhere else, and I feel the need to prove myself even more because of that, kind of representing something bigger than just me and bigger than me as a person. I just want 4 more years. That's like the main goal. Just 4 more years, somewhere academic. There's baseball and then there's academics, and academics obviously goes above baseball. And I really like math and physics, something like more hard skills than business and economics. I've written a paper for my school about economics and baseball and how runs can transfers into money and kind of all the statistics. I'm really statistic based. Like, I really like analyzing the statistics in baseball even since I was young. That's a big thing that I want to carry along with me, and because that sets you up for life. Like, if baseball doesn't go right, but just getting 4 more years to play because I love the game, and I don't mind where I go as long as I can pursue academics there too at a high level.
Big sacrifices. Dad Amiel, mom is Rachel, a 1400 SAT and straight A's all the way through school. Zach Gaa. Those are the academic metrics. Now, when you think of what he did on the diamond, he did show out, opened the eyes, I'm sure, of colleges as a 2023. Top 85% of all of those diamond kinetics metrics when you're talking about max barrel speed, impacts momentum, max acceleration, and then, of course, exit velocity. Congratulations to Zach Gaa. When we come back, a conversation with a man who has all of those things: launch angle, exit velocity, and the tally of homers like we haven't seen in a long, long time. It's MJ Melendez, he and his 41 home runs last year. Great conversation right around the corner on Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings. This is Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings, and we welcome you back. Getting to know former PG All-American and now Royal slugger and catcher MJ Melendez, who spends time with us now from South Florida. MJ, happy 2022, my friend. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. No, thank you guys for having me, and Happy New Year to you guys as well.
I'm so intrigued about what you did, understanding you're from a baseball family. Your dad, Merville, the head coach at FIU. Your brother, a rising catching star as well, and in Jaden. But I'm so intrigued with what you did in 2020 because I want to talk to you about 2021. But when minor leagues were lost, you had a factory that you could work at, basically, your dad's facility. So tell us some of the things you did in 2020 which led to your ridiculous 2021.
Definitely. So after 2019, going into 2020, I was very excited, very eager to start that season. As you know, spring training got cut a little bit short. So when we kind of found out that it was going to be a little bit longer of a break than normal, I was like, man, I'm going to work as hard as I can so that whenever I do get that opportunity, I'm ready. And, that opportunity ended up coming a couple months later at the summer camp. But being able to work every day with my little brother, Jaden, I kind of learned a little bit more about myself. And as I was teaching him about the catching aspect of the game and then in the hitting, just kind of trying to refine all my tools and, perfect my craft.
So let's talk specifically about the refining that you did. Maybe a little bit quieter with your leg kick. Pitch recognition all of a sudden went through the roof last year. You made a lot more contact. If you want to talk mechanics just a little bit heading into 2021 and even in the early stages, go ahead and talk mechanically. What were some of the things you changed?
Most definitely. So what I would do prior to my change was I was kind of rotating my front shoulder a little bit too much and was kind of closing off. So I wasn't fully able to see the pitcher as well as I should have. So instead of being able to use both eyes, I was kind of just cutting myself off to using just my right eye. And of course, if you don't see the ball, it's a little bit hard to hit. So I kind of just opened up my stance a little bit to help adjust that and quieted my leg kick, as you said. And just kind of really just tried to find a way to stay balanced. And my legs kind of worked a couple of different things. Played around a little bit with the leg kick and with my load and trying to find a stance that I felt like I could balance on one leg as long as possible without drifting forward.
41 home runs last year, 28 of them in AA, 13 of them in AAA. You had never gotten a call-up in season. How much did that mean on August 9th to get called to AAA Omaha?
I actually get goosebumps when you ask me that question. It's funny because, I've always been looking forward to that midseason call-up. As you had mentioned, I've never gotten that. So to be able to get that, it was such a fantastic feeling. I remember getting called into manager's office after a series in Arkansas. And, man, it just didn't feel real at first. So on my mind, first thing was like, man, I got to go pack up my apartment when we get back to leave the next morning. But it was the most fun I've had packing up all my stuff.
So it's you, it's Bobby Witt, it's Nick Pratto, Ryan McBroom, and I'm leaving out a bunch. There is a ton of power. Now, you guys can all play positions, but there's an amazing amount of power in the Royals below the major leagues. Collectively, how proud are you of your organization and what you guys are going to do in the future?
I'm not going to lie. So I'm not the type of person to brag about my personal self, but I'll definitely brag about our organization. And I've told numerous people here that I've been working with in the off season. I was like, I'm just so impressed of what, our hitting staff has been able to do at the minor league level. It's very impressive. You see all the way from the lower levels up to the higher levels. And, of course, the higher levels are going to get more recognition because it's closest to the major leagues. But I think throughout the whole organization, we really, really turned it up. And it's been very impressive to see. And, the power numbers are also a great thing. And, those numbers don't lie.
What do you recollect about your Perfect Game experience, really specifically the Perfect Game All-American Classic back in 2016? Heck, you and Luis Campusano, two great catchers, are on your way to the big leagues now. What do you recall about that experience?
One of the best experiences of my life, honestly. I always talk about what was fun for me. Obviously, it's great to hang around the guys. Being around so many different great ball players from all around the country, it's an unbelievable experience. But also, the Rady Children's Hospital was such a great experience for me. It's something that really touches my heart, and it's stuck with me ever since that day. So it's something to be able to, give back and go put a smile on some kids' faces that maybe going through a little bit of a tough time. So it was a very humbling experience, and I had an absolute blast.
It's going to be fun to watch these Royals. MJ, thank you very much.
No, thank you, Darren.
Thank you, MJ. Amazing insights. Love catching up with the slugger now, MJ Melendez. When we come back, David Rawnsley will join us, the great writer and the great scout. And what did he see at Perfect Games World Showcase? Who's affecting the draft in 22 and 23? And then after that, an incredible conversation with one of PG's new great leaders in the softball space. I'm guessing you've heard of her. Jennie Finch joins us on Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings.
Back in the 1920s, a loose alignment of clubs that would come down to Florida to get in shape. A version of Terry Park existed back then. The list of names that has played here is just astounding. You know, the history of baseball that happened here over the years.
Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, Roberto Clemente, and George Brett. History was everywhere.
Everybody here wants to be a big league player. They want to see themselves, you know, their name up on the board there as a future big leaguer who played in Terry Park. I saw Zach Gaa catch here and play third base. Carlos Correa really made his name here at the World Showcase. First time up at the plate, gets the ball over the scoreboard.
Nick Castellanos, World Showcase 2009. Jamison Taillon, World Showcase 2009. Justin Upton, he's a World Showcase alum as well from 2004. It's an event that has yielded
Over 1,600
college commitments, 144 Major League players
and nearly 900.
have been drafted out of this, the World Showcase.
It's awesome to see that, you know, you could be one of those two that they're talking about in the future.
Playing behind players like Carlos Correa, I've always looked up to him because he's Puerto Rican and I'm Puerto Rican, and I know I have my ability to take me to the next level, and I just have fun and let everything ride.
Perfect Game's original showcase, the World Showcase, as we welcome you back to Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings. You go back 2+ decades, it's where PG truly established themselves outside of Iowa, in Florida, in Fort Myers, in Terry Park. My father, the late Hall of Famer Don Sutton, long before there was a Perfect Game, pitched in that ballpark as well. Now you have guys like Jesse Winker, very popular Cincinnati Red. The hard-throwing left-hander Andrew Miller was part of the World Showcase. So good stuff, David Rawnsley. Let's put him to work once again. He was at the 2022 edition of the World Showcase. David updates us right now.
Hi, this is Dave Rawnsley coming to you from Fort Myers, Florida, where we have just concluded another World Showcase. I don't know, this is the 20th, 22nd. I don't know how many World Showcases I've been to, have seen great performances, Zach Gaa all the way to Carlos Correa. But we saw a new all-time World Showcase performance today by Charlie Soto, the 2023 right-hander, threw an all-time best World Showcase, 96 miles an hour today, and he threw a couple of them too, sat 93, 95. Very good slider, very good changeup. This is one of the top 2023 pitching prospects in the country, Charlie Soto, remember that name. Had a couple other really strong pitchers today. Luis Rujano from Florida. You've all heard about him. He was a PG All-American, had a solid 2-inning outing today, 90 to 93, had improved the slider a bit. Changeup is still his second best pitch, but Rujano was very, very good form today. Looking forward to a big spring. We also had a big surprise today, another 2023 Alex Valentin, a left-hander from down in the Everglades. We hadn't seen him very much. He came out, was 89-91, touched a couple 93s. The ball just jumps on hitters. He's a 6-foot lefty with a strong, fast arm, really spun the ball well. But that's a name that really jumped out at us today, Alex Valentin from Everglades, Florida, and you'll be hearing more about him. Now I've got 4 position players I want to highlight. Nomar Diaz, the first one, a young catcher from Puerto Rico. He happened to catch Charlie Soto and did it like a pro. He was the best defensive catcher here, really calm, easy defensive actions, and a really nice bat, a high average, high contact at bat that really plays well. Second position player, young man by the name of John Smith. John Smith, a common name, but with big physical tools, an outfielder who runs a 6'7". Really swung the bat well, had an easy, strong stroke, hit a couple balls really hard to right center field in the games to show his bat speed and power. And of course, Zach Stewart. Zach Stewart, a big third baseman from Missouri, ranked 120th in the country, one of the strongest left-handed hitters in the country. And you can tell he's gotten even stronger from when we saw him last summer. The body's a grade better, and he hit some balls right on the numbers, both in BP and during the games. Really big performance for Zach. then finally, my sleeper guy from here, Daario Sosa. He catches your eye right away, 6'3", 195 pounds, loose, but not really strong body yet. You can see the projection from Connecticut. That's why I don't think we've heard about Daario Sosa yet, but we will. He can run, he can hit. He had 3 hits in the games, really, really good game swings, and very athletic.
Thank you very much, David Rawnsley, Perfect Games Vice President of Player Personnel. And by the way, my color analyst every year at Perfect Games All-American Classic. Charlie Soto's a great story. That's where David led off. Because think about it, last week on this very show, Jared Goodwin, the great writer and scout, talked about what Charlie Soto did at the end of December at the main event showcase. Mid-90s arm now consistently. This is a 2023. Look for the rankings for him to change dramatically in the coming months. Exciting stuff for Charlie Soto. When we come back, a conversation with a brand new member of the Perfect Game team, one of the biggest names in the history of diamond sports and absolutely softball. Jennie Finch will join us, new PG team member on PG Weekly, presented by Rawlings. We welcome you back to Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings, and really excited, as we told you early in this show, about the major announcement coming from Perfect Game, stepping really strong into the softball space with a lot of combines, great tournaments coming up, maybe some other surprises, and leading the educational side and being an ambassador is one of the great names in the sport, and she joins us now as promised, Jennie Finch. Jennie, congratulations. Happy New Year to you. Thanks for your decision to come on the show and to join Perfect Game. What led you, Jennie Finch, Perfect Game, what led them to come together?
Well, I've always been universal, always about the game. Obviously, there's a ton of organizations out there. And then, honestly, my boys, I was able to experience what they get to experience at the grassroots level. And, I knew our sport was broken, but I just feel like it's going down the wrong path. And we've got to get more kids active playing. And, there's pitch counts in baseball. Well, in softball, there isn't pitch counts. And I don't know if we necessarily need pitch counts, but somehow we've got to be able to protect our young athletes and at the same time provide a great opportunity for them, no matter where they're from, what team they play on. And Perfect Game has done such an amazing job in baseball. And so to be able to be a part of something that, honestly, for me, it's even more than domestically. It's globally impact the game of softball. And I couldn't be more excited to see Perfect Game lending their hand and being a part of growing and building softball for Perfect Game.
In our previous conversations, the one thing that stands out more than anything is for the young female athlete, by the young female athlete. You've talked to coaches, you've talked to families, and then Destiny Martinez leading the charge, Jessica Schultz leading the scouting, both national champions at the part of that Patty Gasso tree, if you will, from OU. You, of course, so 3 strong women at the top. We'll bring in one gentleman who will help you on occasion, but I love the concept of strong women leading the way for strong women, future players like yourself.
Absolutely. And, as I was, kind of growing up, tournament directors, they were all men. Any commissioner that I ever known in the sport of softball were men. And for me now, being a mom, a mother of not only 2 boys, but a girl as well, I want that opportunity for my young daughters. And, who knows the game more than someone that has been there, they've done it, they've seen firsthand what the needs are in our sport. And for me too, personally, I want to provide more job opportunities for the softball athlete. Combines, we're talking mentor, we're talking leadership, we're talking, so many avenues and opportunities for not only young girls at the grassroots level, but all the way up to corporate America. And it's just providing equal opportunity and being able to invest in the youth of softball. And for me, there's nobody better to kind of help guide us along, and that's Coach Candrea. We know in our sport, I would say the college coaches really, they direct our game, right? Those are the Major League Baseball scouts that kind of direct Perfect Game baseball. Well, hopefully these young girls will now have the opportunity to play, and maybe not at a D1, but D2, D3, NAIA. There's so many opportunities, and I don't know of another organization that has globally impacted or has the opportunity to globally impact diamond sports like Perfect Game has. And just for me personally, it's like, man, it's a mission. We got to get more girls playing, being active, being a part of a team sport, and providing that opportunity through Perfect Game. And we know 25 years plus on the baseball side to finally, get to where they are. There's so many avenues, Perfect Game TV, the locker rooms. There's so many opportunities for these young athletes on the baseball side. And now our young softball players will have that exact same opportunity.
I think I will end this conversation with the lowest of hanging fruit, but so many people, when they knew I was having you on, wanted to have you recall the multiple times you've faced Major League Baseball hitters and the multiple times you've embarrassed Major League Baseball hitters. How much fun were those experiences, the likes of Albert Pujols, to have those occurrences? We know it's a different sport, certainly, but it's certainly made for a wonderful video, Jennie Finch.
To be honest, what a dream it was. I mean, I grew up a Dodger fan, and to be able to showcase the game of fast pitch softball for me was just such a thrill, because we didn't really have many opportunities. I didn't get to see it on TV growing up. And so just to be able to, grow the game of fast pitch softball, and I think earn a little bit of respect too, in the major league arenas as well. And even just to train with the elite of the elite. I remember, Roger Clemens being able to work out beside him. Man, what an opportunity that was.
Jennie, thank you. Welcome to Perfect Game. You, Jessica, Destiny. We look forward to learning from all of you. This is really exciting stuff.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we want to thank Jennie Finch and her insights and her leadership now in the softball space for Perfect Game for joining us, along with David Rawnsley and MJ Melendez, and the great story of the courageous traveler, Zach Gaa, what he accomplished. By the way, if you're digging amateur baseball and softball, and that's kind of your thing, and for many of you, we know that it is, and you found this show, why don't you go ahead and find the app, the Perfect Game TV app, on any of your smart devices. We're 24/7, and a ton of live events as well throughout the year. My name is Darren Sutton. Thanks for spending each and every week with us on Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings.